All right. Hello, everybody. I'm going to address another situation that has problems surrounding it everywhere. That problem happened some time ago, and is something that will never be forgotten and never be understood because no one wants to understand it. What I'm talking about is the day that two planes flew into the two twin towers of America, 9/11. 9/11. The first problem surrounding this event is the name itself, in my opinion. The name itself is 911, which is a telephone number used by the general public of America to call for help in times of distress. The fact that the crime is named after that number is a despicable disgrace, and actually it's an insult to America itself. And it's never even discussed, and I don't understand why, because it's so bleedingly obvious, and it's kind of, if anything, it's just hollow-minded, dark-hearted, sick humour. Just disgusting beyond words. It's inexpressible how foul it is. But this is the human race, and this is what the human race is capable of. Something so despotic and so grotesque as that. Oh, and the second problem is this. The day the towers fell was the day that 5 Israelis were caught filming the event. And they weren't just filming it, they were dancing in front of the film, and they were high-fiving as well. So they knew this was going to happen. They were prepared to film the event. It's almost like a hunter who kills an animal and takes a part of the animal home and wears it as a trophy. You know, you film the event and take it home as a trophy. Another telltale sign behind the whole scenario is these 5 Israelis. Not only that, but 2 of them were linked to the intelligence agency of Israel, Mossad. And it's just the fact they were released and no more questions were asked is just, in my opinion, totally mind-boggling. Totally mind-boggling. Another problem with the crime is the falling of the 2 twin towers. Planes flying into twin towers will not make the towers fall to the ground completely. It doesn't make them vanish. When a plane flies into the top of a tower, basically the top of the tower is destroyed and the tower is going to remain standing because the bottom's not fatigued, and therefore the tower is not going to fall because the infrastructure of the tower is kept intact, and it simply is just going to stay there. So the fact that it fell the way it did is a sign that someone has interfered with the towers the previous day, and they've interfered with it with demolition bombs. These bombs were laced throughout the entire building, who knows how high up, but they were laced in both the buildings. And the question is, who can put bombs inside of the buildings, especially the twin towers? They would have been locked and secured. You can't just go, yeah, I'm going to put some bombs in these buildings today, and tomorrow they're going to blow up and we're going to see the towers fall. No, someone who put those bombs in there has to have access to the building. And who's going to have access to the building other than the person leasing the building, which was, lo and behold, a Jew. A Jew leased the building. So they would have had access to the building. They would have had the ability to unlock the building and allow people to lace the buildings with bombs. And the man who owned the company that leased the building was Larry Silverstein. And that brings us to the final question. Why was it done? What was the purpose? Because the Arabs were unhappy with the freedoms of the American people? I don't think so. No, the crime was done in order to strengthen allegiance between Israel and America. The crime was done to paint Arabs and the Middle Easterns in a bad light and make the Americans help Israel fight their enemies more efficiently. Simply because of this whole event, the 9/11. This is what did it all. And the person who was standing in office at the time was none other than Benjamin Netanyahu. The same guy that's standing in office now. The same guy that's running this war on Gaza. And not only that, he was asked what he thought of 9/11, and he said it was a good thing. How is that a good thing? 2 planes have just flown into 2 buildings, killed thousands of people, and he sits there with a little smirk on his face and says it's a good thing? That's as psycho as the name itself for the whole criminal event, 911. It's unbelievable, and you just cannot comprehend such insanity within of a human being. It's hard to even fathom. But I wouldn't say it was just Benjamin Netanyahu himself. I'd say there's a big group of them, probably the country itself. They're probably all in on it. They're that rich. They have that many rich people helping them out. And another thing behind it all is the fact that Larry Silverstein made an insurance claim on the towers after they fell. An insurance claim was granted, and he was given over $12 billion simply because the towers fell.